What a friend we have in Jesus. Harassment methods. Overview of harassment methods used by FBI's COINTELPRO Operation Gladio. Covert community recruits and stay-behind armies, or instruction manual for community gang stalkers. From Chapter 18, Instruction Manual with Harassment Methods for Community Gang Stalkers, Undercover Community-Based Agents. Gang stalking is a covert counterintelligence operation to deprive and isolate the victim for climate control, to stage a synthetic psychological collapse for trafficking or exploitation, to stage a synthetic suicide programming for eugenics, to deprive the victim of any peace and justice for social injustice or forced oppression, also known as slavery. Welcome back to the program, everybody. Welcome back to another show. Welcome back to another episode. Good morning or good afternoon to all of my viewers, listeners, and Soul Tribe family. The name of this program is called It's a Conspiracy, But It Ain't No Theory. It's a Conspiracy, But It Ain't No Theory is a nonprofit social service agency suicide prevention campaign servicing the needs of families and foster children at risk. Lending my voice to help raise awareness by soft publishing a book trilogy called Lucy's Lair. Lucy's Lair is a graphic novel based on true events following my life as a freelance artist. This program is intended to help encourage, heal, and empower survivors of cancel culture and rape culture, providing free information and evidence regarding child abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, electronic harassment, gang stalking, conspiracy, and true organized hate crimes against humanity, collective and covert. Your company can help by providing funds in a grant or by donating goods and services as I continue delivering this information and evidence to the general public and advocating for foster children in need. Thank you in advance for all of your support. On today's episode, I'm going to be discussing gang stalking, occult ritual stalking, community harassment with malicious intent, hypersimulation theory, covert psychological operations plus, surviving the New World Order, surviving the New World Disorder per usual, surviving manufactured chaos, surviving manufactured karma, and surviving the electronic targeting holocaust. My name is Adrienne Alese. I am the author and creator of a book trilogy called Lucy's Lair. Lucy's Lair is a book trilogy reflecting my life as a survivor of rape culture, child sex trafficking, and psychological gas chambers. On this program, I advocate for women's rights, basic human rights, and the rights of those disabled. I also advocate on behalf of the foster children in the CPS system, orphans, single mothers, foster mothers, and those less fortunate. Targeted individuals or trafficked victims are predominantly women. 65 to 70% of targeted individuals are white American women or those who identify as such. This makes gang stalking an illegal operation or hate crime that is sexually and politically motivated towards American women and their children. This program is a dedication to the targeted individual community. The objective of the opposition or the counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO 2.0, is to subvert all of the target's potential, to terminate and to punish all supporters and sympathizers, to round down the target's output and audience, to marginalize the target, to eliminate connections and networking ability. Project Monarch Programming refers to a conspiracy theory claiming that the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, developed a covert trauma-based mind control program. The conspiracy alleges that this program was an offshoot of the real and now widely known CIA project called MKUltra, which sought to develop techniques for interrogation and mind control. Allegations of monarch programming Advocates of the monarch conspiracy theory claim that it used systemic torture and abuse to intentionally cause extreme trauma to subjects, forcing their minds to disassociate and create alter egos or manipulate multiple personalities. These personas could then be, quote, programmed. According to the theory, these alters could then be programmed using symbols and specific triggers known as anchors to carry out a range of clandestine operations such as assassination, sex slavery, and intelligence gathering. Appendix 1, keywords and phrases taken directly from this manual. Appendix 2, key terms from Rich's, quote, New World War, Revolutionary Methods for Political Control, 2011. Electronic Targeted Killing, ETK comment. Note that the terms, definitions, military documents, laws, and patents provided by Rich prove the existence of the operations described in Killed's manual. Appendix 3, European Parliament Resolution on Operation Gladio. Appendix 4, From Total Individual Control Technology by Omniscience. Part 4, Physical Sabotage. Physical sabotage is an especially effective form of punishment when it is carefully limited to low-value items below the value where police will take the report seriously. So this is why you will see influencers in your algorithms focusing on high-value men and or women versus low-value men and or women. So because it thinks I'm not a high-value woman, even though I changed the entire world, it won't take any of my reports seriously. For example, burning a target's house down or even stealing an expensive appliance would bring official investigators into the picture, so that is not done. Sabotage producing extreme safety hazards is generally not suitable for operations because of the potential for bringing official investigators to an accident scene. So while damaging the brake system of a target's vehicle is not allowed for community-based agents, draining some of the oil, transmission fluid, or radiator antifreeze is allowed, but not all of it. The goal is to make it look as if the target is negligent in maintaining fluid levels and generally not causing a catastrophic failure that non-targets might see as sabotage. It is very important to apply punishment by way of a large number of small value sabotage acts because that makes it look like the target is forgetful, exaggerating, or in some cases even delusional if they complain about many cases of small value damage. The target's associates will simply refuse to believe that anyone but the target is responsible. Sabotage is very important in that it lets the target know they are totally helpless to stop it and can't even complain about it effectively without appearing mentally ill. The organization is very fortunate in that some people hearing about the sabotage from a target did the sabotage themselves, quote, to get attention. Sabotage is applied at the target's home, workplace, and on their vehicle. This requires the assistance of locksmiths and alarm technicians. Your local control center will supply this help and will bring specialists in from a distance in the case of rural areas. Here are some examples of sabotage a community-based agent may be assigned to carry out. Entering a vehicle or home and changing control and radio settings, replacing window washer fluid with water, possibly destroying the system in winter. They also put water in the gas tank. This has been done. Scratching the paint on the target's vehicle, scratching furniture and valuables. Tire sabotage from removing some air right up to slashing a side wall if authorized by the center. Simulating a break in electric window heater strips. They don't simulate break-ins, they just break in. I don't know why it says simulating. Cutting off the four-way flasher button, removing substantial amounts of oil, transmission fluid, or antifreeze, but not enough to cause catastrophic failure. Moving things around inside the vehicle to show the target someone broke in. Unlocking the vehicle and leaving it unlocked, possibly even with door open. Small cuts to car's upholstery. Unlocking the target's front or back door and leaving it ajar while the target is away. Moving furniture or carpet around fairly frequently to show the target someone broke in. Stealing low-value items, especially items like scissors, which can be easily misplaced. Keeping them until the target replaces the item, then return the missing item, often in a place the target checked. Stealing important papers, especially those which will cost money to replace, or simply stealing irreplaceable photographs. While target is at work, remove mail from their box and toss it around, repeatedly making wall pictures crooked. Setting clocks to the wrong time, repeatedly dumping consumable supplies, in example, coffee, to make the target think they are no longer capable of managing their supplies well. Starting small rips in new clothing which are widened on repeated visits to the laundromat. Ripping crotches out of the target's underwear or stealing finest underwear, swimsuits, etc. Replacing clothing with similar items which are too small for the target, like for children that target does not have. Ironing inside button flags over, making buttoning the shirt or top difficult. Carefully working the tip of a knife through seams in any air mattress or cushion the target may own, including replacements on a daily basis. Breaking zippers in clothes and bags, perhaps by pulling out a tooth or two. Shoving a knife through the soles of waterproof boots. At work, removing screws from the target's office chair, or at home, dinner table leaving only one screw of 4 left to tilt the table with china. At work, damaging or destroying, if not extremely obvious, a target's work from a previous day. For example, the computer is broken again, possibly worse. At work, replacing current copies of computer files with an older copy, particularly serious if target is a computer programmer. At work, where some employees are or can be recruited to be community-based agents, set up, quote, mistaken deliveries of heavy goods which block the target's office. At work, if the target is responsible for parts of the operation which can be sabotaged, do so repeatedly just as the target starts eating lunch or is about to leave for home or go on break. At work, where the target is responsible for materials that can't be locked up, sabotage or with special permission from the control center, steal the material. Thefts have to be carefully considered and authorized by your local control center. Unless you have authorization, do not steal. One particularly effective type of theft is to remove small value but often used items from the target's premises. Once the target has been observed purchasing a replacement, the item is then returned. This not only causes the target to spend money uselessly, it also imposes a feeling of total helplessness on the target. So in any case, thanks so much for joining me on today's episode of It's a Conspiracy, but it ain't no theory. For the record, and to the best of my knowledge, I have been on the CIA's hit list for an electronic targeting homicide and Holocaust officially since October 31st, 2019, Halloween, after the tattoo shop I frequent was broken into and my son's name was tagged on the inside of the tattoo shop window. It is apparent to me that I am the victim of organized crime. After the death of Jerron's baby cousin, Jennifer Alfisa, who was 25 years old, on August 1st, 2021, approximately a week and a half after my cell phone alerted me that hackers were tracking me, I started this channel in fear for my life when I tried to file in court for domestic servitude and was denied access to the law library. My safety is jeopardized. None of this is for attention. I am not crazy, nor do I have a habit of telling lies. So far, I haven't made a single penny doing the Lord's work and speaking the gospel truth here on this program, delivering words of encouragement and true news, not fake news. I don't make any friends discussing deep-seated underlying political issues such as rape culture. Quite the contrary. I have lost my home, my family, my friends, my career as a model, my reputation, health, and I am forced to flee from this cult of deadly mobsters daily. I have been forced into impoverishment, and even though I am homeless, none of my family, my parents, have not asked me or called to see how I'm doing, not even once. Instead, they prefer to victim blame, to gaslight, and to argue. This is the reason for my crisis. My life should be vastly different, should be so much different than it currently is. It should be the exact opposite. I should have been married, a married homeowner with foster children of my own by now, settled into a community and church. I am currently being oppressed as my constitutional rights are being violated daily, and I'm deprived of my right to life. So, if you wouldn't mind, if you appreciate the truth and the work I do here on my program, please like, share, comment, subscribe, tip, or donate today. Every penny helps me to regain my social support, reputation, and independence. I don't smoke or drink, so no money is wasted. Thank you. Social engineering is a crime against humanity. Exploitation of illusory explanations to conceal directed energy crimes. This is social engineering. Cut your shower short to conserve our water. I'm so proud of my conservative efforts. And when I see you out here with your Gucci bag, that's a frauda bag. Frauda bag for fraudulent organization. Your whole ass, the entire organization you represent is fraudulent. Donate your vehicle to someone in need. You don't need to be driving. You're overweight, you should be walking to go get your weed. You definitely don't need to be driving. So the fact that I am cutting my shower short conserves energy, water resources. The fact that I walk and I don't drive, same exact situation. I'm doing more for the climate than these so-called environmentalists. One other thing that I wanted to mention before I log off for the day is that when you're being harassed by electronic vehicles, the act of a single Tesla alone is not the malicious intent. It's the act of multiple gang stalkers doing it. And that is also a form of electronic harassment since those are electronic vehicles. And it is simply that straightforward. And another thing I wanted to say before I log off here today is And so, in any case, that Charlie Kirk, CK, stands for cop killer. If you guys didn't know, they use symbology. Of course, they're not going to tell you this. You would just have to have the keen vision, the trained intuition to know what it is that you're looking at. Charlie Kirk was shot for expressing himself politically. He is actually still alive and very much so well. These are cover stories to conceal directed energy crimes, which is electronic targeted killings, an electronic targeting holocaust. So, CK, Charlie Kirk, cop killer. You're welcome. So anyways, those stories that the media sells, it's out for sensationalism. And so all of this conspiracy, organized hate crimes, it's all sensational. What do I always say about the truth? 3 main things about the truth. The truth never wavers. You never have to worry about remembering the truth because, like I said, it never wavers, it never changes. And the truth always prevails. All right, so one last thing before I log off for today that I wanted to mention, and not to be all dramatic or anything, but we got to talking about my childhood. Jaron and I got to talking about my childhood and how I got blessed, and I was very fortunate to have a really, really good foster mother. And he said something to the effect that, he knew that my biological mother, Rebecca Lucille, she slipped up, he said. Those were his exact words. And he said she slipped up, and basically he said she was speaking out of a place where if she had a conscience at all, she would be feeling guilty for allowing her lovers to molest her children, including myself, which at the time I was just a baby. This is really hard for me to discuss. I'm going to do my best to try to get through what we were discussing and just to lay it all out there on the line, because I have the type of personality where I'm very much so an open book, and there aren't very many secrets to me. I don't have very many secrets. I'm not that type of person. I don't live double lives, and I don't lie. Okay. So when I was at my mother's house recently, washing my clothes, doing laundry there, thinking that, she could help me because she can't afford to pay her restitutions since she's currently committing a hate crime. What she's doing to me by abusing me is a hate crime. And not only now, but specifically when I was a child. All right, so we got to talking, and he said that she slipped up, and she said, while I went to go check on my laundry, to check on my clothes to see if they were done drying, something to the effect of, well, I don't even know why she wears or has clothes or does laundry. Now, I'm paraphrasing, okay? And she said to Jaron something to the effect of, I don't know why she does laundry. Why does she need to wash clothes? She never wears any. And she's always been like that ever since she was young, ever since she was a baby, ever since she was little, ever since she was a child, he said. She always took her clothes off every time the police came out, is what she told Jaron. There are so many things wrong with this that I don't even know where to begin to unpack this. All I have to say is, when you start doing meth at a really young age, like at 10, 12, 13, which is the case for my biological mother and for many of the people in my family, my biological family, you are not allowing your brain, your conscience, you're not allowing your brain to finish developing. So you end up having the mentality of a 10 or 12-year-old long into your adult life. So instead of practicing radical acceptance, this person is so mentally ill, and it's actually quite sad, that even though there are scars on the back of my head from my sister Mary attempting to kill me by dropping me, even though there's police records of abuse and sexual molestation, even though there's CPS records of my brothers and sisters and I being in foster homes for 10 years or maybe longer, this individual still likes to play the victim. And it does this because it has a childish mentality. It never finished developing psychologically, mentally. So because it never finished developing mentally, it doesn't have a conscience and therefore can never feel guilt, can't process guilt, and just continues to commit the hate crime. By denying my truth, even though there is an overwhelming amount of evidence. Children do not get placed in CPS. I'm so tired of having this argument and being the only one to advocate for me. Children do not go to CPS unless there is evidence of not only physical abuse, but sexual abuse as well. Okay? I'm so tired of being the only one advocating for me. So in any case, she tried to express how she was not the way I make it seem like she is. And she tried to save her reputation by blaming her baby, which, by the way, she hates her own child. Who does this? Who has a baby that they hate? Okay, I'm a victim of a hate crime, all right? There's no nice way to put this. And I just get so tired of being the only one advocating for me. While the rest of the family tries to blame me for taking my clothes off every time the cops come out, and I've always been like that ever since I was little. No. Let me reframe this with some truth. Dear Heavenly Father, give me the strength. Thank you, Jesus. I was groomed, as were the rest of my siblings, to get naked every time one of her lovers came over, including the police. How would a baby know the difference between one or the other? They don't know. She's lying, okay? And she has a lot of secrets to hide. This is just one of them, all right? So it's really sick. It's really, really sick. And I'm really, really tired of having to be living my life impoverished when this person needs to be paying restitutions. I'm owed victim of crime. This is a hate crime. And while we continued to discuss this deep-seated underlying political issue, Geron said that every single foster child that is the victim of a hate crime by their parent who hates them to the point where they abuse them and almost kill them in every way, including sexually, that they're put into CPS, these foster children, they are owed restitutions and victim of crime for the rest of their life. Period. It's that simple. So everything that this pedophile enabler has accomplished in its life is fraudulent because it does not pay its restitutions. It does not practice radical acceptance, even though there's an overwhelming amount of evidence. And it victim blames and gaslights. Every single person that supports or sympathizes with my mother is a Nazi sympathizer and needs to be regulated. So in addition to that, another one of the reasons why we were ultimately placed into CPS is because of the neglect. My mother didn't care enough for us to buy us clothes, to put diapers on us, and was already giving us cigarettes and alcohol by the time we were 1 and 2 years old. In addition to that, she didn't raise me at all. I spent my first birthday with my aunt and my uncle while my biological mother was doing a stint in the penitentiary for prostitution. While my biological mother was doing time in jail for prostitution. So she can't actually say one way or another how I was like when I was a child. She must be referring to me as a baby, less than 1 year old, because she did not raise me. I was placed into CPS, so she could not say one way or another since she was not there. In addition to that, a baby does not know any better. You mean to tell me with 7 older siblings, nobody within that house could take responsibility for the baby? First of all, it's the parents' responsibility. And that's exactly why we got taken away. Because this parent was negligent and still is to this day. Some of these white folks are so insane that they think it's CPS's job or a foster family's responsibility to raise their children while they're too busy sucking on a meth pipe. That's insane. So anyways, I just wanted to say thank you to my husband, Jerron, for not keeping that a secret and for coming out and telling me about it, even though he knew it was going to really, really hurt me. And it did. And I would be lying if I said it doesn't hurt me. It does hurt me. It's really difficult for me to talk about. That's why I have to pray. And it's very unfair that my foster mother was murdered systemically and that this evil continues to thrive. It's really, really unfair. Okay. And I'm just so grateful that people can understand that my biological mother is guilty. And when she comes out like that to try to gossip about me being a baby who takes my clothes off every time the police show up, these people, they know that she's lying. They know that she's crazy. They know that she's full of shit. Excuse me. Excuse my French. So anyways, while she's sitting over here talking about, I ain't got nothing left to lose. I have nothing left to lose. During this last argument that we had around Thanksgiving, when she threatened to call the police on me for stopping to visit my own children. Psychotic. In any case, I'm already beyond it. I'm already past it. It's in the past. I don't really care. But while she's sitting over here talking about I have nothing left to lose, I have this show dedicated to truth that she can't even be bothered to watch because the truth hurts. And before you get ready to talk your narcissistic bullshit and say, oh, that's why your own parents don't even love you, the only reason why you're talking like that is because you yourself don't even love you. You have a self-love deficiency. And that, the way that you think, oh yeah, that's right, that's why your own parents don't even love you, that is called narcissistic delusions of grandeur. Stop hating yourself.